Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? For my sister and I, it simply started as a thought and honestly felt a little overwhelming because we truly didn't know where to begin until we found Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is the easiest and best way to launch a professional podcast. In fact, it's so good that they have already helped over 100,000 people launch their own. Buzzsprout does not only have an easy platform to use right at your fingertips, but it will also help you to launch your podcast on every major podcasting platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more, all with a few clicks of a button. In addition, you will gain access to analytics and frequently uploaded tutorials to help your podcast be the best it can be. So, join the thousands of people who have created their podcasts with Buzzsprout. And by clicking the link in our description, you can find out more. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sestra-Tainment.
Sestra-Tainment.
I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're here today talking to you about the top things that stood out to us this week in the world of entertainment. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started this weekend. Mine isn't even about this week's world of entertainment. I'm going to go back a little bit because it's about a show that I've been watching on Netflix and I've really enjoyed. And so I wanted to talk about it because it's getting ready to come back in January. And so I figured what better time than to talk about this show than now, and that is Ozark.
Ozark.
Did you watch Ozark?
I started to, but I didn't finish.
Didn't finish?
It.
Okay.
I definitely need to.
Yeah, it is amazing. I think it was like pandemic television for a lot of people when it hit. And it had enough seasons. I think it's 3 seasons in. It started in 2017. And so basically it's a storyline that has a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs. And so basically the interesting thing about it is that it goes through different iterations. I'll just say it that way. So for me personally, like when you first start watching it, and this is like first episode, so if people haven't seen the first episode, there's 3 seasons. It's not that big of a spoiler. Yeah. But for the most part, it's about this guy named Marty. And Marty is played by Jason Bateman. So for anyone who hasn't truly watched and know who all of the kind of characters are, so to speak. But Jason Bateman plays Marty. I'll talk a little bit about the cast to start. His wife is played by Laura Linney, and she plays Wendy. So, and Marty, last name for everybody in the family is Bird. So Marty Bird, Wendy Bird. They have a daughter who is Charlotte Bird, played by Sophia Hublitz. And then you have Jonah Bird, who's played by Skylar Grintner. And then my favorite character, I guess you would say it's Marty, but also it's Ruth Langmore, who is played by Julia Gardner, and she's actually won some awards. I think almost all of them have won awards when you think of Jason Bateman and things like that, but she's won awards in regards to her acting in this particular role, which has been phenomenal, and she's been on there since season 1. So she just really is a breakout character to me. And I'd seen her in other things, like she was even in The Americans and different things, and so I was like, she's a really good actress, and she can... Gosh, I think she was even in Dirty John. Like, she's been in a lot of different things. And so she really just kind of stood out. But basically, the storyline follows the premise of a gentleman, Marty, who is a financial advisor. And so he and his partner actually go through and... let's just say, well, I'll say it's more his partner probably than him, but they embezzle money from a drug lord. So they're supposed to be like basically money laundering, right? Yeah. But what they would do is they would fix the scales so that way when a truck would go and sit on the scales, it was like 5 pounds off. And so therefore it looked like it had 5 pounds less of something than it actually did. And then they would go ahead and do something with that additional merchandise or whatever. And over a period of years, they embezzled basically $8 million. So in the process of that, the drug lord finds out. this is all first episode.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But it catches you. It keeps you hooked.
It keeps you hooked right from the beginning. And so it's, let's just say, a blaze of glory ensues. And basically, right as Marty is, trying to figure out if he's going to live or die, he kind of comes up with this great scheme and plan that he shares with the drug lord and says, look, if you allow me to do this the right way, like I know how to do this, I am the financials books person better than anybody else, I can get for you over 5 years, $500 million. So $100 million per year. Just let me work my magic, do what I have to do. If I don't do it, you can take me out. But if I can do this for you, just imagine how much more money you'd have. And so he's really a fast talker, he's just like, he's quick on his feet, because at one point he's even talking to the drug lord about, like, you and this Pablo Escobar, thing that you're doing here, it's not really working out, until the guy starts like shooting at people, and he's like, you serious? You're a real gangster.
La diploma, got it.
Yeah, exactly. And so therefore he, changes his tune, and basically he has to move his whole family to Missouri, to the Ozarks, in order for them to kind of live. His wife had no clue that he was involved in all of these shady activities. And as the seasons go on and the show goes on, it kind of, everything just turns on its head. Like, the quiet sun starts changing, and they end up moving to this house where it's a beautiful house, a lot of windows, gorgeous, but there's an old man who lives in the basement that comes with the house.
Yeah, it's just like, you just here? Okay.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just going to live here. You can be here. I'll just have the basement. Y'all do whatever you need to do. You won't, don't mind me. And so that's kind of a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
The daughter, she gets into some things, and the wife starts doing different things. And not to even mention, in the first episode, probably even in the first 5 minutes, you find out the wife is even having an affair.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
That's a thing. So it's a lot. It's a lot. That's all. Like,
in the first episode,
all basically of what I've talked about is like first episode, other than them physically moving to the Ozarks and getting that house. That's the only thing
until
like,
the old man.
Right, exactly, and that's like first 3 episodes probably.
Yeah. But then once they get to the Ozarks, that's when they all start to change.
Yes, everybody in the family starts to change, and Marty becomes less and less the kind of, not gangster, but the kind of that, he's like, whoa, we shouldn't engage with these people. Like, they're involved in marijuana drugs or trades or different things like that. Like, no, we don't want to go down that path. We're already dealing with one psychotic, drug lord. We don't need additional ones on our plate.
You gotta let it go.
You let it go. Yeah. And then, with Ruth and her character, and they're stealing money and all of this. It's just so many layers to it that it's
makes me want to watch the show again.
A good show. And then that's not even counting, there's a husband and wife who like own a lot of land and grow their own drugs, and that whole storyline of what goes on there, and the clash between the farm people and the drug lord. So then that's a clash, and then you have a whole casino boat that they want to purchase in one of the seasons. So then you have to go down the path of that.
Yeah. It's so much.
It's so many layers. So I haven't, the trailer, let me go back and say, for season 4 is out. And it came out about a month ago. So if you YouTube it or Google it, it's out there. Personally, I haven't looked at it because I just want to be surprised by what the season presents.
Yeah, so then there's a lot of time trailers can give you a lot too much.
Yeah, it can kind of give too much away. And, I just have enjoyed the ride of this show so much that I just don't want to take any chances. But I just would highly recommend Ozarks. Like I said, I know a lot of people probably watched Ozark when the pandemic hit, because everybody was like, what's everybody watching? What's everybody doing? Nobody can go anywhere. And it was like Tiger King and Ozark and Money Heist was like the top things that everybody was talking about. And, Tiger King. I don't even think I have the energy to talk through that on one of these episodes.
I know, and now it's another one out too.
Yeah, it's a new one out too. Yeah. So I only looked at a little bit of the first episode of that, and it's about Carol Baskins and her husband dying. So it's a big thing, like talking to his daughters.
Baskins.
Yep. Killed her husband. Whacked him. Yeah, I think I really went. I hadn't heard it in so long. You can't tell me that it didn't happen. Yeah. So, but anyway, so it's the whole thing about Carol. All I've seen, like I said, literally is maybe the first 30 minutes, but it's talking to his daughters and different people who knew him and would say that he would never do that. And people who do think maybe she did.
So the only thing I will say this, I think the thing that dropped me off from Ozark was that it was like, it's one of those, all right, you binge it and then you gotta wait a year.
Yeah.
For it to come back out. I think that's what it was.
But that's everything.
I know,
Netflix.
I know.
But it's like so good that it's like
so good, and then you go and be like, okay, I'm gonna watch it now. I'm gonna watch like the second season. I haven't watched the newest one. So that's
you haven't watched the third season?
I haven't watched the third season.
So maybe if you start watching the third season now, with it coming out for the fourth season in January, it's perfect timing.
Yeah, and then I'll just binge watch that, and then wait another year.
Yeah, exactly. And then the good thing too, for people who haven't even watched any of it, it gives you plenty of time to watch everything, watch all of it, and then by the time you're ready to get to the fourth season, they usually do the whole drop. Exactly. So therefore, you'll be able to binge watch even the fourth season, which will be great. But Jason Bateman is phenomenal in here
he's a great actor.
As well. He is really good, like, because he can play all the different roles. Like, he's very good at being like serious for a role like this, but then being silly and goofy for like that Bad Bosses movie or whatever. Horrible Bosses.
He's very like diverse.
Yeah,
when it comes to acting.
Exactly. So that is what I have. Ozark.
All right.
My first topic of the night.
Nice.
Of the day.
All right. So mine's is Being the Ricardos.
Being the Ricardos.
Yes, Lucy and Ricky. Okay. So it is based off of a 1 week episode. Well, it's based off of 1 week, which is the filming of the setting up for one episode of the I Love Lucy show.
Okay.
When it comes out that Lucy is a communist. And this is at the height of her career. So this was... they said that when I Love Lucy was on, that people, between the times of 8 and 9 or something like that, that the use of water throughout the country went down because everybody's watching the show.
Nobody's washing their hair. Nobody's cooking. Nobody's in the shower or taking a bath.
Yeah, nobody's in the bathroom.
Yeah,
they said the same thing with what was it? It was something else. I can't remember what it was, but it was something else that was like that. It was like, it's like
appointment TV. Yeah, you're going to sit there and you're going to watch it.
So they said that, now if you have 15 million viewers on a show, that's great. They were like, but she had 60 million viewers.
Exactly. And you have to think back then, everybody didn't even have TVs.
I know. That's what I'm like, what the heck?
That's crazy.
But yeah, so just going into that, it is, like I told you a story about it coming out that Lucille Ball was a communist, and going into all of that and how strict and stern she is when she is, on set for the show, and then also how she is dealing with that situation of people knowing that she's a communist, how that all actually came about.
Did I know Lucille Ball was a communist?
Well, so all right, so
I feel like I didn't know that.
Yeah, what it was like a whole thing where her father died when she was young, and she was raised by her grandfather. Her grandfather was a communist.
Oh.
So out of
osmosis. Like
basically.
Just being around someone, then you just picked up their thoughts and traits and habits and okay.
So she marked the box when she was, I think, voter registration or something like that.
Oh, yeah, like Democratic, Republican, Independent, Communist, blah blah blah, whatever the options are.
But it really goes into like the details, like her relationship with Desi Arnaz. I'm like, it was like a passionate, but like, I want to kill you, but I love you, kind of.
Very volatile.
Yeah. It was it's a bit much.
A little scary.
Yeah. So like, in the whole show, like the whole movie, she keeps asking him, did you cheat on me? Did you cheat on me? Will you cheat on me? Will you cheat on me? Will you cheat on me? Like, I heard more of that in the show than actually anything about her being a communist in the movie.
It was more of her insecurities
with him. Yeah.
About him and what he was out there doing. And was he out there doing anything that they showed on that one week?
One of them it starts off with when it first starts off the show, it is her. It's like you can't really see her. It's like actually zoomed in to the radio.
Okay.
So with it being zoomed into the radio, you see Desi Arnaz walk by, you see Lucy walk by, but you can't see them. It's actually, them just walking past the radio.
Okay.
Like the main focus is the radio because of the whole fact that this one guy from the radio says at the end of his broadcast, and the highest paid actress and film star in the world, Lucille Ball, is a communist. Goes off. And everybody just
wow.
So once it goes into that, that's when you actually get to see Nicole Kidman, who was playing Lucille Ball. Yeah. But when it first starts, it does show her going off. Where have you been? He comes in the house. Lucy, I'm home, and she's like, "Where have you been? Like, you haven't been here in such and such amount of hours." Blah 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 blah. And then he was just like, "I was playing cards with the guys on the boat," and he was like, "I fell asleep. Woke up." And he was like, "I'm here now." She's going off. She's throwing this magazine at him. That's a picture of him and somebody else on the magazine. And then she's like accusing him of cheating, and he was just like, and then he's like, "This is the picture of like when we were at such and such, and this is the niece of this person. You were there. You remember the picture." And then she's like, "That's right, I was there."
Oh my gosh.
So it was like a picture that was an old picture that somebody tried to use as him doing something like recent.
No, gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it does. It goes into that. It also goes into her relationship with Vivian Vance, who's a lady who played Ethel. Yeah. Goes into that relationship, and then also the relationship of Bill Frawley and Vivian Vance, and how they just
Fred and Ethel.
Yeah, Fred and Ethel. Mm-hmm. How they just basically, you couldn't tell if they really didn't like each other, or if they just bickered back and forth.
Gotcha.
He's like, "All right, when are we gonna get a new Ethel? When are we recasting Ethel?" Yeah. And then she's like, She's like, "Are you drunk? Like, can you not understand?" He's like, "It's 10:00 in the morning." "Yes, I'm drunk."
Oh my god.
So they're like them going back and forth with that. But the cast is a really great cast. I think it's a really great cast. Nicole Kidman does an excellent job playing Lucille Ball.
Wonderful.
Even though she doesn't look like her, she does have the raspiness in the voice. She definitely has that, which I've never paid attention to her having that raspy ending. When she's talking, like Lucille Ball had that smokers talk, whatever.
Oh, gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Javier Bardem, he plays Desi Arnaz. J.K. Simmons plays William Frawley. And a lot of people know J.K. Simmons because he's J. Jonah Jameson.
He's in all the
Spider-Man. Spider-Man movies.
He is, he's the
J. Jonah Jameson.
The editor. Yeah. And he was in Oz.
Oh, he was in Oz,
Oz, yep. And he's on all the commercials for Farmers Insurance or something.
Have you seen a picture of him recently? He is cut up. He's Diesel.
Oh, he's been working out.
Like, he got the old man face, but then he has like the body of like a 21-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's weird.
You'll have to Google it.
Yeah, you have to Google it. And then Nina Aranda, who plays Vivian Vance. I don't really know anything about her or what she's played in. I know she's played in some good stuff, but it's actually nothing that actually Midnight in Paris. I did see that one. That was kind of a weird movie. But other than that, I don't really know her in like anything else. She was in Goliath as well, but the cast and crew, I mean, like, everybody is great. I mean, even down to the guy Tony Hale who plays
I love Tony Hale
from was it Arrested Development?
Yeah, and Veep.
Yeah, Veep too. Yeah, so he's on there, and he's Jess Oppenheimer, who is like a big producer and like writer for the I Love Lucy show. So I mean, like, the cast and everything, really good. Everybody was talking about how what's her name, Deborah Messing should have played Lucy because of how much she looked alike. But I feel like that would not have worked for if it was a comedic movie, yes.
But I think that you could also, like, for a true actress to stretch themselves, they could have potentially seen, because I feel like Deborah Messing is like the closest thing, and that's Grace from Will and Grace, is the closest thing that I have seen when she dresses up like Lucille Ball. Like, they did that on an episode, and I mean, it was spot on.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll put it this way: if they were redoing an episode,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It should be Deborah Massey. You're right.
Like,
this is
comedic,
who Lucille Ball was herself, which is very different, probably,
absolutely,
than who
totally
she was
different
on the screen. So it kind of goes to your show, Mrs. Maisel, and how you have that comedian who is one way on the stage and a completely different person when they're off the stage.
But another thing I would say is that with what I did not know that Lucille Ball did was that she would be talking to someone and then she'll just be like, yeah, so with me being a communist and then, like, you know, check the box and blah, 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 flowers. There needs to be flowers on the table. Okay, so in this scene, and then she'll just change right to, like, so the show is constantly on her mind. Even if she's talking about something else. If she has an idea, she has to say it right then and there, get it out, and go from there. Instead of it being, you know, all right, I'm gonna come back to that. It's like she has to say it right then and there, and then everything has to be perfect, and she'll run it through her mind. Like, you'll see her acting it out in her mind, but they actually show it like it's like live in front of the studio audience or whatever. So
right.
It's just like the way that her brain just worked was amazing, and that's what the seriousness of Nicole Kidman doing that. I don't think that Deborah Messing would have been able to. I don't know if Deborah Messing would have been able to do like such a serious role like that. When she was like aggressive, she's mean, she's
yeah. I think it would be a stretch. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a stretch, but I think that when I first heard that it was going to be Nicole Kidman, I was like, Nicole Kidman how? Wait, I don't see anything Lucy. But then as I saw her dressed up in the hair and the makeup and all of that, I was like, oh, okay, I think I could see it. I haven't watched this yet, but would you say that as you're watching it, you forget that she's Nicole Kidman? Like, do you see Lucille Ball, or you're just like, it's still Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, it's still Nicole Kidman, but you get the gist of it.
And that's what I like, when you can get lost in a character. And I feel like with Deborah Messing, maybe if she could have pulled it off, I would have gotten a little more lost in the character.
I can't see Nicole Kidman playing like a Grace from Will and Grace character.
Right, yeah, because she's not really doing much comedic. I don't know if I've ever seen her do anything really comedic, but no, I definitely get that. It's like everybody has their lane, that they like to stay in for the most part. I mean, some people do go all over the place, like the guy who was in Oz and in State Farm commercial, or what is it, Farmers Insurance commercials, and doing dramatic things and winning Oscars, so it's like he's all over the place.
Exactly, like from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, one of the ladies who is on there who is a comedian. Mm-hmm. She is a comedian, and she talks like she's, I can't remember her name, some from Queens, you know what I'm saying? And then, and this is played by Jane Lynch. But then when she's like, okay, now I want to be a Broadway actress, and it's just like, okay, but you understand that you're a comedic person,
right?
Her in a fat suit and everything is her
persona.
Her regular. She sits down. She's very prim and proper.
Yes, she has white table linens, and
she will take her tea with a lemon and a little croissant, and
she looks frumpy as all get out when she's on stage with her suit.
I mean, like she even walks like, she has a book on her head or something like that. You know how the ladies walk on the League of Their Own. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but, it's totally different.
Totally different. Mm-hmm. And then when she wanted to do the serious role, it's just like, but that's not you. Yeah. She goes on Broadway, and what happens? Now she's going back into this character that she was as a comedian. Mm-hmm. Messes it all up. So it's just it's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
All right, but that's what I have. It's a great movie. Definitely check it out, and that is Being There with Ricardos.
And what is that on?
That is on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. All right, thank you. I am going to probably get a little controversial right now. Ooh, about Ben Affleck saying he feels trapped.
What?
So
I don't know about this.
You don't know about this? What? About a week ago, probably now. So maybe I'm a little behind. But Ben Affleck was on Affleck, I don't know. Anyway, I feel like I'm saying Affleck like the duck.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know, right? But Affleck. He actually was on Howard Stern. And they were just talking about different things. How do you deal with this? How do you overcome that? Whatever. And he, of course, had been an alcoholic and is now sober.
Yeah.
So I guess Howard Stern was, just talking to him about different things in regards to his sobriety and how he's doing and how, the marriage fell apart, like all those kind of things. Okay. And so one of the statements that he made is that part of why I started drinking was because I was trapped. So he used those words, but explained some other things. Like he says here, and I think a lot of people, he says this was taken out of context. I'm going to say from what I just think from actually having heard part of the interview, which I think a lot of people are coming up with opinions, but they haven't actually heard part of the interview. They're just like, oh, he said that. Shame on him. His wife and his this and this. And it's like, she's done this and she's done that. And they were supposed to be great co-parents and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, he was like, this is what he said. He said, quote, I was like, I can't leave because of my kids, but I'm not happy. What do I do? And what I did was drink a bottle of scotch and fell asleep on the couch, which turned out not to be the solution. End of quote. He said, I needed to be a better model for that for our kids to see of a marriage. So then he said, we had a marriage that didn't work. It happens. She's somebody I love and I respect, but whom I shouldn't have been married to any longer. And he said, we did it amicably. We did our best. Did we have moments of tension? Did we have disagreements over custody? Was it difficult for us? Did we get angry? Yes. But fundamentally, it was always underpinned with a respect. And so he said he always knew she was a good mom and he hoped that she felt the same way towards him. So him just saying the one line, and he might have gone into more detail. I didn't hear him go into more details about it when I listened to the interview. But basically, he was saying that part of the reason why I was drinking was because I felt trapped, and that became the subject line of all conversations.
Oh, so like his people thinking, oh, his wife trapped him.
Yeah, well, because he's blaming his alcoholism on his wife. Like, what kind of scapegoat is he trying to use her for? And didn't she drive him to treatment? Is what somebody had said, and all these things. And I guess for me, being a person who has in my past, thankfully not now, but in my past felt like I was a little trapped because you're like, well, how do I afford to leave? How do I afford to do these things? How do I get out of this situation? What do I do? It's like I personally heard it and thought that I got what he was trying to say.
I get what he said.
But he just maybe didn't articulate it. I don't even know.
He hit the Kanye West.
He didn't articulate it in such a way, in my opinion, that people got the understanding, the underlying understanding of what he was trying to say.
Like I said, the Kanye West. Every time Kanye talks, what he's trying to say and what he really says, two totally different things.
It's one thing in your brain and one thing that comes out your mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah, so to me, as soon as I heard it, what I thought, and even had some friends talking about it over at dinner, and they were like, yeah, he said he felt trapped. What kind of bum does that or whatever, you know? And I was just like, I didn't say anything at the moment because I was processing it, because I hadn't heard the full, story of anything. But I was just like, I felt trapped before. I might not have articulated that I felt trapped before.
But until you've gone through it, you would not understand anything?
I think some of the people who are judging him have gone through it. There are people who have gone through being in a relationship and feeling trapped, but because he said it as a figure who is saying this on a Howard Stern show and it reverbs out into the universe, it's like, well, how can you even complain? You got all this money, you got a nanny, you had sex with the nanny. You got this, you got that.
Yeah, exactly.
You cheated with the nanny. Go nowhere, so you were already on my bad list because of that. And then now you're with J-Lo, seeming to be so super happy, but that's who you were with before Jennifer Gardner, and then this and then that. So I think that it's like one of those things that people could just look. I know he does love some Jennifers. And so I think that it's one of those things where people are like, he may not be some people's favorite person anyway. I don't really know enough about Ben Affleck to care one way or the other.
I don't even think he's not my Batman.
And he's not my Batman. And I don't even know if he's the greatest actor in the world. If I put him against Matt Damon, I'm going to say it's Matt Damon.
If I put him against his brother Casey.
Oh yeah, Casey's good too. Yeah,
Casey is a beast.
And so, I mean, I think he's all right. So it's not that I'm having this unpopular opinion because I think he's the end all be all best actor in the whole wide world and why is everybody coming after Ben? That's not it at all. And I don't even feel that way. I feel like there are instances in which people are in relationships, and the way that I understood it with them was that they were trying to stay together in the same household for as long as they could for their kids. And I also understood it that with some of these marriage and alimony, palimony, different kinds of things that people can have in certain states, you have to be married for a certain amount of time for somebody to
for
get
a certain amount of
their
time,
alimony and then get to get separated. So there was this period where I'm sure they were probably like, look, we're at about 8, 9, 10 years. We're close enough, or whatever the case may be. And if we can ride it out these next couple, then we can separate. And you know what? I'll do right by you. You can get all your money you're supposed to get, and whatever. And we just do that. Because I did hear that back when they separated, that it was this thing like the day after that year threshold was the day that they separated.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, oh, so if it was 10 years, let's say it was 10 years in a day, and then it was like, we're separated, 11 years, 12 years, whatever it was, but it was like, and a day, now we're separating. And so therefore it was like, okay, they were in a not so great situation for the kids for a period of time. And when you're in those situations, you may not make the best decisions. So I don't think he was blaming her and saying, and then Jennifer Gardner made me drink because she made my life so miserable.
No, he's not saying that.
It was like we were in a situation in which we were trying to do what was best for our kids. I didn't know how to handle that in the best and most effective way. So what I turned to was a bottle of scotch. And that wasn't effective either because how it impacted my kids. So I decided I needed to get sober for that. So, and the whole interview talks through all that. He just didn't articulate it that way. He didn't say, not because of her, but because of my choices of what I did, X, Y, Z. But I think that was the intention behind what he had said. So I say all that to say my unpopular opinion is that I think I got where he was coming from and why he wasn't trying to throw his ex-wife under the bus.
I can understand that.
So that's just, my thoughts. I never heard anything about what Jennifer Gardner even had to say about what he said. I know.
She's probably like, I don't want to say anything because then as soon as I say something, y'all going to twist it around like the same way y'all doing it.
Well, she couldn't win because if she comes out and says something bad about him, then that's going to look one way if he truly didn't mean it that way. And if she also knows the nature of our relationship is such that I know you didn't mean it like that, but the media has it looking like that. So now if I take up for you and say, no, y'all, come on, he didn't really mean it like that, then she's going to look like a weak person who's standing by a man that's with another woman. And, it's just, it would be too many layers. It's too much. It's too messy. So anyway, but I think J-Lo did come out and say that, and he even came out and re-clarified what he meant and all of those things too. So, but so he was kind of getting dragged through the mud last week in regards to that. And if he did mean it, he meant it. But I'm just saying from my perspective, I felt like I've been in that place before where you're in a relationship. It's ending. Yeah. It's ending. It's ending. Yeah. There's an ending coming. Yeah. But it's like, how do you get yourself to a point of being ready for that? Right. How do you get yourself financially, emotionally, physically, because breaking up is hard and it's emotional. So, absolutely. You have to kind of get through that too. So, anywho, so that was my second topic of the night, my unpopular opinion about Ben Affleck.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, well, mine's is a little bit more controversial. This is getting deep. This one is a documentary called 137 Shots.
Oh, wow.
This is a very, very deep documentary. It is about the 137 shots that were shot into a vehicle that Tim Russell and Melissa Williams were in after a 62 police officer chase. I can't remember how many cop cars they said it was, but it was 62 police officers total.
Total shooting at a car.
Yes. Well, actually, it was only 13 that actually shot at the car, but it was the chase looked like something that should have been like I don't even know.
Worse than OJ, obviously.
No,
I don't
no,
even think they had 60 cars chasing OJ.
It looked like something off of like what is the name of the when it had that little the cops chasing the robber around the thing, circle and circle, like old back in the day, where it's like
the little Keystone Cops.
Yeah. It looked like that if you watch the documentary. That's exactly what it looks like.
Wow.
But yeah, these police officers, it was ended up being a whole misunderstanding. What it started off was the car backfired when they were passing by a police station. This Tim was driving. Melissa was in the passenger seat. Mm-hmm. One of the police officers screamed, "They're shooting, shots fired," and hops in his car, chases. Now he's telling people. Now he's over the radio saying they're waving a gun at us. You know, they might be shooting more. Then there's just a car backfiring. And that ended up where 62 cops total
chase a car
through Cleveland, Ohio. Mm. Why?
Yeah.
Like just.
Yeah. Why
aren't they stopping? Why are they just chasing him? Why aren't they like, all right, he's on this way? Like, because I mean, I've seen Cops. I've seen the TV show Cops. Mm-hmm. So, all right, making a left on, blah, blah, blah. All right, see if we can cut him off of here.
Get the little pilot in the sky on the helicopter.
Yeah. But I'm just like, all right, let's see if we can cut him off here. And then there's always cops.
And you put down the strip.
So you're trying to tell me those 62 cops could not have surrounded any way that he could have turned?
Yeah, a certain number of
blocks. And stopped him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you're going to have those people who say, but they just should have stopped.
Yeah, it's so much into that. I mean, like this.
I mean, that's what.
No.
Say, but if they had only stopped.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like they had already been stopped by a police officer. But this whole situation is so loaded that. Yeah. Anyway, so the main thing that happened is one police officer actually jumped on the hood of the car and shot down into the car,
Like, I'm going to get on top of the car,
on the hood of the
windshield. I'm going to shoot into the car to ensure your death.
And then on top of that, when they went to go shoot at the car, they were shooting I don't see how nobody shot each other because they were all standing around the car, like surrounding the car, like in a circle.
Like 13 cops all standing around the car.
But now they're shooting
into the car.
They're shooting into the car, but then their cars are right there beside it. Because their car, because they wanted to just block them in.
Some cop car has to have a bullet in it somewhere or something.
Well, see, that was the thing. Most of those cop cars did have bullets in them. And they're like, oh, they're shooting at the car. They're shooting at the cop cars.
That's the cop on the other side of the car.
Exactly.
Because in the end, they didn't have a gun.
They didn't have a weapon at all.
No,
nothing whatsoever. A Coca-Cola can.
Coca-Cola can. And they had, and what's the name of the show and how many shots was it?
It's 137 shots.
So 137 shots were fired by 13 police officers into a vicinity now, you might as well say, because it wasn't even all into the car because of the fact that
they were shooting at the car, basically.
At the car, but could have missed and hit the other cop cars that were around.
Which
and there could be some, and they could have shot into a house. They could have shot into anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, where the car stopped at was actually at a school. So it's like in the school bus loop, I think it's like where he stopped at. But God, I don't even like it. It was just so much. Like,
and did they give them a chance to get out the car?
No. The doors. The one car was pulled up. The way the cars are pulled up, the cop cars, once they stopped, the two cop cars came and kind of sandwiched them, so they wouldn't have been able to get out the car.
Oh, they couldn't even get out the car.
Couldn't get out the car. No.
Wow.
Yeah. Deep.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that riding by a police station in your car, like that moment was when your car backfired. Like, you know what I mean? If it had backfired a block or two before or a block or two after all of this.
I can tell the difference between a car backfiring
and a shot from a gun. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could tell the difference. Like, it's it's like a difference between a firework going off and a shot being fired. You know, I feel like there's a sound difference that you can tell. Also,
and if anybody should understand that, it should be police officers who deal with guns and go to ranges and shoot all the time potentially. So, yeah, you never know.
Unless they're just thinking, I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, so the one officer who jumped on the hood of the car and shot down into it, he did end up getting fired. Okay. 3 years later.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He went on trial and was acquitted.
Wow.
But
I mean, not surprising. What year was this too?
It started in 2012.
That's when the shooting and everything happened. Okay, and then the trial was like a few years later.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, I would say this: it's 18 months after that's when the police officer was convicted.
Oh, okay.
That's when they're like, all right, look, dude, like this is what you're getting, and now you can go to trial. Now we know that you're gonna end up going to trial.
Oh, so he was fired, and then he was still working. When they said he was going to have to go to trial, he was still working.
Still working.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, just in limbo. So what he said there.
So he was just found to not have just cause, which is why they decided to go forward with the trial to see if he would get what kind of punishment potentially.
Yeah, and then they just dropped it. There's so many holes in the story that I don't understand how any of this could I don't know. There's so many holes in the story that I don't understand how anyone could see it as
someone being fearful for their life.
Someone doing it, doing their job the right way. I don't feel like if anybody watches this documentary, I don't feel like they will see that these police officers did their job the correct way.
Yeah.
Just from this documentary.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the police union rep, he encouraged the police not to cooperate with the investigation.
But they would want somebody to cooperate with them if they were investigating. Okay.
And told one of the police officers this police officer said, "Hey, yeah, I saw the car backfire. I literally saw the exhaust, pop.
Yeah.
I saw the burst of fire coming out the back of the exhaust." And the union rep says, "Okay, yeah, just keep your mouth shut about that for right now." See, it's it's a lot of stuff in this.
They didn't want to take on the liability and the risk of what it was.
Yeah. And then
what happened.
Now while all this is going on, it's also the same time when Tamir Rice, the 12-year-old boy who was playing with a cap gun out in the park, when he gets shot. So now it's two things that are happening within this same amount of time, and it's always with the police, and so now everybody in the neighborhood is feeling kind of anxious, I guess is what you want to say,
around the police officers.
Yeah, so I mean that the whole thing is, I don't know. It's the whole thing is crazy. The whole documentary is crazy. I watched it, I turned it off. But with the police officers, the main ones that I got shot the most shots into out of the 13, it was 6 of them. The one who jumped on the car, he lost his job 3 years after the whole situation, along with the other 5. But then 5 years after that, all but him got their jobs back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So 13 are shooting, only 6 get in.
Because 13, all right, so 13 police officers start shooting at the vehicle.
Right.
But some of them, one police officer, he was like, I shot twice. And then he was like, I'm looking and we're shooting at our own vehicles.
Oh, so he just...
So he was like, so I stopped.
I stopped, yeah. So, okay. So then there's others who just kept going. Yeah, and then who's shooting when he's on top of the vehicle? I guess they stopped then when they saw that he jumped on top of the vehicle and shot inside.
He shot 30-some rounds into the vehicle.
Just because they can tell from the different guns what the different patterns are of the bullets and stuff. So what was the ending verdict in regards to him going to trial?
He was acquitted. Not guilty.
Not guilty of anything.
Yeah. And I couldn't remember. I think it was involuntary manslaughter. I don't know. I can't remember if it was voluntary or involuntary. I have to go back and watch it because they talk about it like the very beginning.
Oh, okay. So not guilty of voluntary manslaughter, probably, because voluntary means that you have the intent to kill. And they were saying, oh, no, he didn't have the intent to kill, even though he jumped on top of the hood and shot right inside the windshield. But, that's just...
It's very, very deep.
Yeah, it
very,
sounds
very
like
deep.
it. You know, from a documentary perspective, it sounds like something that, you know, it's not opinion. You know what I mean? This is fact. I'm sure they had video footage. I'm sure they had all the cops and the different kind of newscasters or whoever, everybody who was officially a part of the story.
So there were people who were, newscasters that are talking about it. They're, like you said, like newscasters, people who were
the police officers, politicians.
The politicians, you had the mayor, you had like a whole bunch of other people. You had people from like different colleges that are around there. You had people who were like, this is our footage from our building type thing. So it's I guess I say that to say, with it being a documentary and not something that's just a story being told, then you really get to see the reality of what actually happened, so you can make your own opinions from there. So because so when I said before that they had been stopped before, there was this one police officer who does end up pulling them over because he is an undercover cop who apparently beats on homeless people, and Melissa Williams was staying at this homeless shelter that is like right there in that area. And as soon as she gets in the car, you see the footage. The police officer pulls up. As soon as she closed the door and they pull off, he pulls off so close behind them. I thought he was gonna like try to fishtail them.
Oh wow!
Like that close behind them. Then like maybe quarter mile up, he cuts his lights on, and then
pulls him over.
He said, pulls him over. He said that he was going to get out the car. He said, I saw something in her hand. She's yelling at me. They had their hands up. He was like, but she had something in her hand, and he said it was red and silver. He was like, so I was like, I don't have my vest on, so let me get back in the car. And then they left. He said, I left and they left.
Yep, he was done.
He was done.
But then they left and happened to pass a police.
And when they were passing by the police station, that's when the car backfires, and
the rest is.
And it's just a lot, but it's very detailed. That is one thing I do like about this documentary. It's very detailed. It goes through it has all of the like CCTV footage from where it was at the police station all the way to when. Well, before the police station, when they get pulled over, at the police station, then further on down the road, further on down the road,
showing everything that's happening the whole time. So there's no questions. Okay.
So definitely, if you want to get into something deep, then definitely check out 137 Shots on Netflix.
Wow. Yep. Yeah. Netflix. Okay, great. Well,
can we bring this to a hype note now?
It's funny you say that because, because even Ozark wasn't light. It's kind of like, you're embezzling, shots are fired, you're working with drug lords.
But that's a TV show, not real life.
Yeah, not real life. So this is, I guess, real life and a little bit upbeat. So I think it's perfect. Who knew? DJ Cassidy on YouTube.
DJ Cassidy.
I wanted to talk about him because he has given me life throughout this pandemic, and he has something that's called Pass the Mic. And I didn't really know that much about DJ Cassidy before the pandemic, actually. It's kind of like how D Nice had his club quarantine going on, and he would just do different shows from his home and, just DJ party, whatever.
DJs, actually.
I guess I'm just not it. I know DJ Jazzy Jeff. That's all I know.
That is I can't believe you just
some of the listeners feel just like me, I am sure. But anyway, no, I know a few more DJs than that, but I'm just saying,
DJ Cool.
I got Grandmaster Flash. You got a whole bunch of different DJs out there now. Yeah. Come on now.
DJ Khaled.
We the best. Yeah. All right, anyway. So, so I was looking at DJ Cassidy on YouTube, and I highly recommend, if you are an R&B or hip hop fan, after this podcast, please go
check it out
to YouTube. Don't stop our podcast to go do it, but please go to YouTube and look up DJ Cassidy with a C, Cassidy, Pass the Mic. And what he does is he says that basically he's passing the mic from his home to the homes of his musical heroes. Yeah. And he says that he does it to dedicate it to all of the frontline heroes that are out there during the pandemic. So that's kind of how he got it started. But that's kind of his tagline every time he gets the pass the mic going. And he passes the mic from one house to the next. You see the inside of these people's, homes, if they don't have that little filter in the background. The green screen. But it's hip hop, it's R&B, it's a little bit of everything, and it's just been amazing. Like, I absolutely love it. I love it. Yeah. There are songs from every genre, and so what I said I was going to do is go through some of the artists, because I felt like, me talking about him and not playing clips, it's hard. So I said, well, let me just tell you some of the people.
I never had a question.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's Sherelle and Alexander O'Neal for sure. So some of the folks, you have Denise Williams, so it's like, silly of me to think that I, whoever. Anyway, so Ray Parker Jr., Ghostbusters, whatever, Woman Needs Love, just like you do. Jodie Watley, I'm looking for a new love, baby, a new love. Or when she was with Shalimar, even, in that case. You have Sheila E. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, you have Morris Day and the Time. I mean, come on. Morris Day and the Time. I mean, Jungle Love. Yeah. You just got it all. Yeah. Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive. You have Lisa and Cult Jam, Lisa with, Wonder If I Take You Home. I mean, whatever, you got all of that. You got Gladys Knight. You have Patti LaBelle. You have Cameo. It's like thunder.
I can feel it when you walk.
You have George Clinton, like from Parliament. So you have that in Atomic Dog. You have Shaka Khan. You have El DeBarge, Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates. Mm-hmm. You have Jeffrey Osborne. You have, and then it's kind of like, so you'll have, that could be like an episode, you're just looking at one episode and it's all this amazing talent. And sometimes he'll even do multiple ones where it's like the older school, kind of songs. And then you'll go to like, okay, now he's kind of moving it up a little bit. So then you have, BBD, so Belle Biv DeVoe, so Poison, or Johnny Gill, or Ashanti, Fat Joe, I'll Be Sure. You'll have Genuine, everybody knows Pony after Magic Mike and all of that kind of stuff. You'll have Drew Hill with Cisco. You'll have 112, SWV, Missy Elliott, like all of those folks. And then you even get into the groups that are like, from like when I was in high school or in college, like Naughty by Nature, Arrested Development, Chuck D and Public Enemy, Dougie Fresh, Rakim from Eric B and Rakim, Special Ed, MC Search, MC Light, Nice and Smooth, Black Sheep, Moni Love, Chubb Rock. I mean, like, everything. This goes on. Yeah, it just goes on and on. But see, I got to say some more of these, because you got Run DMC and LL Cool J who are coming to his. So you're thinking like, oh, these are all like washed out, played out,
But you got the goats though.
You have the greatest of all time. Yeah. And then one of my personal favorites, Big Daddy Kane. Yeah. The BIGDADDYKANE. I'm good and plenty. I remember that from the 80s. Can I say? Okay. So anyway, Kid and Play and Salt and Pepper. I mean, like you said, the list just goes on and on. This is just a few. Like, I looked at probably 3 different episodes of the 3 different genres, so you have the old school hip hop, you got the old school, like, kind of 90s R&B.
They have like Jagged Edge and Next. And
exactly.
Like H-Town.
Yeah, Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. Yeah. So you have a little bit of everything. So if you want something that's feel good.
They just had whatchamacallit, because remember I did the song Rapture, Blondie.
Oh yeah,
Blondie and Fab Five Freddy.
Yeah, Blondie and Fab Five Freddy. You're right. Yeah. And so you have Shaka Khan. I mean, like, you have the classics. You have the goats,
Patti LaBelle,
as you said. Yeah, Patti LaBelle. I already mentioned Glad.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of everybody, and you can watch one video and it's going to be one genre, and then you can watch another video and it's completely different.
Yeah, Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Yep, exactly.
That's the way. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it is it's given me life. So every time he drops a new one, I want to see it. I want to watch it. They're, gosh, sometimes 20 minutes long.
But they're awesome. Yeah.
But it's so cool because he'll like be DJing. He's in his home, and then he's like, I'm going to pass the mic. Go ahead. Like Gladys. And she's like, okay. And she's singing Love Overboard, sounding amazing. And then she's passing it to like Jeffrey Osborne, who's singing his song amazing, and then it's Howard Hewitt who's singing it amazing, and then you move on to, it's just like this wonderful flow of entertainment, and they're all like the same genre, so it's not like somebody's going to be on there and you're going to be like, wait, why?
Like, how do we go from like 70s disco to LL Cool J?
Exactly. Like, you're not going to have
and then we're going from there to wait, is Patti LaBelle right now? Now Missy Elliott? Hold on, wait.
No. He has a great way of keeping a lot of the genres together. So, but that's one of the things that I've been watching during the pandemic is DJ Cassidy. It's been amazing. He just recently dropped a few of them when the BET Awards were out. Yeah. And so he had some different pass the mics then, which they might as well drop the mic because it's just so amazing. And I don't know, every time that I listen to it, I can't help but dance and have good energy.
Singing along with it. And next thing you know, it's like 30 minutes and you're just down the rabbit hole of just listening to all these older songs.
All the older songs. And it's amazing. And then, you're right. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh, that reminds me. I haven't listened to such and such as an artist in a while. I wonder if he'll have them on there. Will it be Anita Baker one time?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, I wish Tina Marie was still around. It's just all those kind of things where you're just like, it does. It takes you kind of a little bit down memory lane.
If this was something that was done years ago when like Ashford and Simpson were still alive. And,
well, no, she is. She did one.
She did one?
Yeah, she did one.
She by herself? Oh, yeah, she did.
She was by herself and she sung. Yeah, because her husband had passed away.
But he could do like just a couples one. That would have been awesome.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? That's true. That's true. Or where, the partners. Yeah, because they weren't, I mean, well, I guess they probably were.
But like,
but
you songs together, you know.
And then like how you said the Saturday Love with Sherelle and Alexander O'Neal or something like that. Yeah.
So,
that would be amazing. Or I totally agree. So it would be nice, but it also shows you how much music has changed, because some of those groups that I've mentioned now, like before, like you said, Jagged Edge or Drew Hill or H-Town or 112. I mean, nobody's really doing that kind of band music anymore.
No, at all.
Which is why I think people have been fiending for the New Kids on the Block, New Edition, NSYNC kind of feel, because, I mean, that's gone from them being on an award show. They had their own Christmas special on.
Yeah,
so, it's like people are looking for that boy band kind of thing. Other than like your BTS. One Direction or,
One Direction isn't even together.
No, they're not. I knew they weren't together.
The only boy band now is BTS.
Yeah, I knew they weren't together,
K-pop.
but I'm just saying those were the closest ones that we had in the past few years. True, but the K-pop stuff is the only thing we have right now. So, I mean, I think that there's a longing for it, you know? So, anywho, but that's all that I had.
I do want to mention this really quick. This daggone fight with Paul, the Logan, Jake Paul, and
I have no idea who these people are, but okay.
The fight that Terry wanted to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that there was the fight, but I just had never heard of any of these people.
It's a YouTube star gone pro boxer.
Okay.
So, but they were just talking about how he signaled to dude that he was gonna like hit him and stuff like that. Like, but
so it's fixed.
Like it was fixed. But then I mean, like I feel like most of his fights have been like that. Have been fixed. Like it's all been, he has a bunch of money, so he's just like, all right, I'll pay you for this. Like he paid Mayweather. All right, I'll pay you for this. So
he paid Mayweather to be in the ring with Mayweather.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
And he made his money from YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, him and his brother. I think they're YouTube, Instagram, something like that. I don't know. Some social media.
Okay. Well, but
that whole fight situation, I'm just like, hey, this was making him popular right now.
But I mean, is it like wrestling, where it's like, look, this isn't a true fight. It's more of us taking a wrestling concept and applying it to boxing.
Yeah, you know what? That's really smart. I never thought about that.
Yeah, because that's how I feel about people pay a lot of money to go see wrestling matches and buy the outfits and pay for the little dolls and all that kind of stuff, and yet Everybody knows it's fake.
Wrestling is a men's soap opera.
Yes.
That's what wrestling is.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a men's soap opera.
Yeah, and so when it comes to boxing, he's probably like, look, this is a niche that nobody else is tapped into. Yeah. So what I'm going to do...
That is really smart.
...is just go ahead...
If he don't do it, we need to find somebody to do that. And then we go ahead and be like, we're going to be your manager. We'll set up the fights, okay? You go out there, you do your best.
And you just don't know who's going to come out the victor.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But it's already fixed before it begins.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep, exactly. So, okay, well, no.
Man,
I mean,
that would be a great thing. Somebody's going to take this.
Yeah, probably so. Well, I mean, he's already taking it. He's doing it. Yeah, literally, I am giving you my money for you to hit me in the face. And I know I won't win, but I'm getting notoriety for just being in the ring with you.
Yeah.
So that in itself is him doing it. It's just that he hasn't created a whole
physically
entourage. Right. What he has to do is become that guy. What was his McMahon or whatever of WWE?
Oh, yeah, Vince McMahon.
Yep. And become that, okay, now I'm going to, hey, do you want to be in a situation like this? I'm going to be your... coach, your whatever, your manager.
I can be the pallbearer to your Undertaker.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go through and
go ahead and
do what we got to do in order to make this money.
Exactly, but I mean it's super smart. I mean that's just me thinking that, but I mean I could.
Stranger things happen.
Oh, absolutely, and I definitely think that he's smart.
Yeah, if that's what he's doing, he's really smart, and it could build.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he's talking crap to people.
He's got the way to build it where other people like us do not.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
But,
all right,
everyone. Well, thank you so much for your time today with Sestra-Tainment. And we hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season. We are, for those of you who may be listening to this later, approaching Christmas. So, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. Happy Festivus.
Holidays.
It's for the rest of us.
It is for the rest of us.
Happy Festivus, guys.
Everybody have a wonderful day. Take care.
Bye.